Welcome to Archicad training. We're going to be working through a few things today. We're going to start off how to create a new project, and then we're going to be going through a number of different modules. By the time we finish these modules, you should be fairly competent and capable of doing a very simple design. When you first open up Archicad, even though it does take a little while to load, you will come up with this dialog box. Most important that the radio button is depressed, which is create a new project. And then we say yes. Now it takes a minute or two. This is quite a large program, but the reality is as you get more and more competent, so you will find that this will pass fairly quickly. One of the things that I could mention while we're waiting is that everything is done automatically to the scale of 1 to 100. This is a standard procedure, and I usually tick yes and click OK. Because this is a Windows-based program, we do operate in the area of a scale of 1 to 100, as you can see here. And if you want to, you can change the scale, but right now we stick to 1 to 100. The other tools that are easily visible here is the arrow tool, which we use for selecting items. So as we look here, we can see that we have an elevation here, which we can select with our mouse and move if we so desire. And so we have elevations already set up. Down the middle here we have cross sections. Now some of these are technical terms, and we'll explain cross sections a little bit later. But the cross section is basically looking inside the building. One of the tools that we will be using is not only the arrow tool, but we will be using all the different design tools that are available. The first one here is the wall tool, the next one is the door tool, and the window tool. When we double click on the door tool, on the wall tool, wall tool, we can see that we have a number of interactive drop-down menu here. Now we normally select the middle one. If you accidentally select the wrong side, you will find that there is a totally different menu of items. So we select the middle one. Make sure it is illuminated. The menu here tells us 250 brick veneer. But when we are doing the internal walls, we would be selecting the 90mm stud partitions. But right now, when we're dealing with this, we don't touch these values here. We stick to them being zeros. So we've selected the 250 brick veneer with plasterboard, and wall tool, we click OK. We then enter a distance. So let's say I want to make this 11 meters long. We just made it 10 meters long, 11 meters long, knowing that everything is in millimeters, and I'm going at 90 degrees. So that is exactly 11 meters long to this scale of 1 to 100. I move the mouse in and we can see the cross. As I bring it in closer, I get the tick, I get the circle. I know I'm exactly right. So I'm going to make this 15 meters long, and the direction we're going in is 0 degrees. I move my mouse in, I touch, I'm then going to make it, let's say 15 meters long, and I'm going at 90 degrees. I move my mouse in again, I get the circle, I come along, I'll make this 10 meters long, and I'm going at 180 degrees. Now, one of the features of Archicad, we can use the shift button, and the shift button allows us to line things up. So I've depressed the shift button and I've clicked on here. I've got the circle. I know I'm in the right place, but I've depressed the shift button because I want to line up perfectly with this corner here. And now when I come back here, I get the circle and I'm there. How do I know I've joined up beautifully? Well, it's fairly obvious. Each corner is correct. Again, I can go back to the arrow tool. I can scroll in and scroll out. We definitely worked in an anti-clockwise direction. The reason why we did that is we want the brick wall to be on the outside of the house. If we'd gone in a clockwise direction, we would have had the brick wall on the inside of the house. The little feature of using the shift button to line things up is just a nice little tool to have to allow you to get things lined up precisely. Every one of these corners is 90 degrees, and as I highlighted earlier, by depressing the arrow tool, we can select the section and move it appropriately. And so if we were to look at the sections, we would see through the wall. The elevations, we might want to move back just a little bit. We can move the elevations in closer if we so desire.